Hey everyone, Dr. Brianne Callanan here. Today we are going to talk all about perimenopause and menopause. This is a topic that has been highly requested to do, and many of the individuals, I would say 80 to 85% of the individuals that we work with in the Metabolic Reset program, maybe slightly less, are actually in this age group. They're going through perimenopause, going through menopause, and they've realized that it's become more difficult to cope with stress, more difficult to sleep, and there's resistant weight loss. So we're going to zone in today on why that might be and what are the different hormonal shifts that are accompanied to this. We're also going to touch on why resistant weight loss often occurs in those who are over 40. So you might have been able to get away with consuming a variety of different foods, and then you hit 40 and then things come much harder for you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Brianne Callanan. I'm a naturopathic doctor and functional medicine practitioner. So I focus on getting to the root cause of the health concerns. An analogy that I really like is we don't paint over problems here. So if you have a foundation issue in your home, you are not going to paint over the problem. And that's what we're not going to do either. We need to get to the root cause, rebuild the foundation for you so you can live healthy and optimally. If you are hopping on right now, let me know where you are from and let me know if this is something that you find valuable as well. You are welcome to share it out to this video if it is something that you have found valuable, or tag your friends that are going through the same thing. Because the reality is, and I often hear this from a lot of clients, is we are well supported, or we support young women when they first get their menstrual cycle. We support women when they first have a child, and we talk to them and we educate them and we support them on these hormonal changes. But then it almost seems as women get into their 40s, going through perimenopause and menopause, it's not talked about, and it's almost assumed that, you know, if you've gotten this far into your life, you are just simply going to figure it out. Or there's the assumption of, you know, you no longer have your menstrual cycle, you must be happy. And that's simply not the case. Many of my female clients over 40, they often experience dramatic changes that lead them to feel frustrated, confused, the sense of joy and self-confidence I often see go down as well, because it's this change that we're not anticipating and we're not supported through that really creates a lot of anxiety. And the hormone fluctuations, which we're going to talk about, lead to the common signs and symptoms that we see, such as hot flashes, disrupted sleep, mood swings, anxiety, less resiliency to stress. And it sometimes can feel like life is unfair, like you're living in someone else's body, or what the heck is going on. So we're going to be talking about that and some of the things that you can do to support your hormones as you go through this transition. Many women can go through menopause and experience absolutely no symptoms, and that's what we want. It should be a nice, easy transition that we embrace, that we're supported through, and that's the way that it should go. But what often happens is we always think of perimenopause and menopause as estrogen levels going down. And yes, that is the case, but what is often neglected is that progesterone, our Zen hormone, our pro-gestation, pro-having a baby hormone. Oftentimes that goes down too. And what I see in my practice is a lot of women already have low progesterone and they have too much estrogen. Then they go through perimenopause and menopause. Yes, estrogen comes down, but progesterone tanks even more, and then they experience those symptoms. The reason why this occurs is because estrogen can not only come from our ovaries, but it can also come from environmental sources. So the skincare that you are using. A lot of skincare will contain xenobiotics, or chemicals that can resemble estrogen. So you are lathering yourself in more estrogen, raising your estrogen levels. You don't want to do that. Plastics, plastic water bottles, tap water, those all can be sources of raising your estrogen as well. So we need to be very mindful about our estrogen sources from our environment, because we are creating this disbalance. Yes, it's going down, but so is progesterone, so this gap is getting bigger. And another issue that I often see is women have an inability to detox estrogen sometimes. So what that means is your liver becomes congested. You can't go through phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification of estrogens because we're overburdened with so many environmental chemicals. In addition, maybe your liver can detox estrogen just fine, After the liver, that estrogen goes into the large intestine, but if you have the wrong type of gut bacteria, that estrogen is going to be recycled. So that's why in the metabolic reset program, we focus on, we have to get the liver fixed. We have to get the gut microbiome fixed so that you are able to detoxify not only estrogens, but chemicals and other hormones through that process, and they can be eliminated. So if you are not supporting your detox pathways, if you're not supporting a healthy gut microbiome, you could be elevating your levels of estrogen. In addition, those who have extra adipose tissue or fat tissue, that is metabolically active. That is going to produce more estrogens on its own as well. So it's not about just lose weight, eat less, exercise more. I'm continually becoming more and more frustrated for people telling other people weight loss is easy, you just need to eat less, exercise more. We know that's not going to work. We know that 99.6% of the individuals who eat less, exercise more, fail. It doesn't result in weight loss. So we have to think of better advice, and it's all about not masking the symptom, but correcting the underlying root cause. Support the liver, support the gut health, and making sure that individuals are having bowel movements each and every day. So we're going to talk about two issues now that I see in those who are perimenopausal and menopausal that leads to some of these hormone imbalances as well as resistant weight loss. Number one is when your healthy estrogen levels decline, you are more unable to process carbs as efficiently. So when you do consume carbohydrates, they are more likely to be stored as fat, and that is because estrogen helps your body maintain your blood sugar. So the Coles notes of that is less estrogen leads to higher blood sugar, higher insulin levels as a result, and insulin is a fat storage hormone. Does this mean that you can never consume carbohydrates? Absolutely not, but we need to consume carbohydrates with a meal. We need to optimize your insulin sensitivity. What does that look like? What does that even mean? That just means intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is great at doing that. So compress your feeding window, snack less, have larger meals in a smaller amount of time during the day will be really helpful. If you do consume carbohydrates, have them with a meal that has proteins and fibers. If you do consume carbohydrates, best to do some movement. So for those of you who have gone through the metabolic reset program and you're now in maintenance, a great time to have your carb serving at the meal would be after a workout. So try to do some movement. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It should not be anything crazy. 10 to 15 minutes of HIIT exercises, do some resistance training, and have your carbohydrate source after, because your body is more able to utilize that carb source or that sugar source as energy at that point in time. Second issue, when you are going through the hormonal shifts of perimenopause and menopause, you become more sensitive to stress, less resilient to stress. So oftentimes what we are seeing is elevated levels of stress, whether it's mental, emotional, work, food sensitivities, pain, environmental stress, toxins in our environment. Doesn't matter what type of stress it is, but you are less resilient to be able to cope with it, not only from a mental, emotional standpoint, but also a physical standpoint. So we have to do everything that we can to reduce your cortisol or your stress levels. Cortisol should only be high in the morning. It needs to be low at night. If it's not low at night, what we often see is people struggle with going to bed, and they often wake up around 3 to 4 a.m. And that has another association with your blood sugar as well. Weight loss is going to be very challenging when you're less resilient to stress. So if you are stressed, not sleeping, you're having hot flashes, then you are trying to add on exercise, which is a stress in itself. That is not going to be helpful for you. We need to reduce the cortisol. Exercise is not recommended in the losing phase of the metabolic reset. Individuals lose 20 to 40 pounds in 6 weeks without exercise. We put the exercise back in after because we have to balance the hormones and we have to improve your resiliency to stress. If you are staying up late at night watching Netflix, that's blue light that's coming into your eyes, preventing your body's ability to produce melatonin that you need for sleep. That's going to be a problem. If you insist on being on your computer, your phone, or your Netflix late at night, grab blue blocking glasses. That's going to be key in order for helping you to go to sleep. You need melatonin high at night, and you need cortisol low at night. Then you need the cortisol low at night so it can regenerate and become high in the morning. This is going to reset your natural circadian rhythm. Really try to avoid blue lights at nighttime. Dim your phones, get the blue blocking glasses. Another thing that stress will do, elevated levels of cortisol, it's going to break down your lean muscle mass in your extremities. Your metabolism is going to slow down if that happens. Stress is also going to promote fat storage around the midsection. Midsection weight is higher risk for cardiovascular disease. We need to make sure that we're not storing weight around our midsection because that's the most dangerous. In addition, stress breaks down amino acids such as glutamine, damages your gut lining. Stress also will break down your collagen, so now we're seeing more fine lines and wrinkles. Whole body collagen is my favorite collagen product for that, but you can't just take a collagen supplement and continue to be stressed. It's not going to work. We have to support your body with adaptogens. So herbs or mushrooms that help improve your resiliency to stress are great. We need to make sure that you're having a whole foods healthy diet that is rich in dark leafy greens and proteins because you're breaking down more of your proteins when you're stressed. Also, really important to have a wide variety of fruits and vegetables in your diet to get enough B vitamins, to get enough vitamin C. Those are all things, in addition to magnesium, that are depleted during stress. So it's not as simple as eat less, exercise more. It's simply not. We need to look at the underlying root causes, support every single organ system, and it all comes down to a healthy liver, a healthy digestive tract. Make sure you have adequate nutrients, then hormones regulate. I do focus a lot on hormones, but before we even get to that, we are focusing on gut health and detoxification, and that's what we do in the Metabolic Reset program. And oftentimes by the end, hormones become a non-issue. It's almost counterintuitive to say, okay, my estrogen levels are out of whack, my estrogen levels are too high, my progesterone's too low, oh, I'm just going to take replacement, whether it's pharmaceutical or bioidentical, because that is almost masking the problem the exact same way as painting over a foundational issue of your house. We have to look at, why did those hormones become out of balance in the first place? Was it stress? Was it impaired detoxification? Was it poor gut health? Are your estrogens being recycled? What are you putting on your skin? And yes, it sounds a little bit overwhelming to have to, think about all of that, but it really comes down to working with a practitioner that understands your symptoms, understands your lab work, and how to come up with a comprehensive plan that works for you. Hope that was helpful. If you guys have any other questions about perimenopause, menopause, please let me know. You can send me a DM or you can post in the comments below. I'm happy to help. Those are the main reasons why I see people struggling in perimenopause and menopause. One, you are more carb sensitive, so you really need to be strategic about having the right foods at the right time for the right reasons, because you are not as able to process carbs for a fuel source without as much estrogen. Doesn't mean you can't have carbohydrates. We just have to do it in a very particular way. Number two, you are more sensitive to stress and less resilient to stress. So you need to have that mindset piece. You need to have the lifestyle changes, whether it's yoga, meditation, gratitude. That's what we focus heavily on in the Metabolic Reset, focusing on your mindset, because a lot of those limiting beliefs, core values that you have, that's what's going to make or break whether or not your hormones are in balance. Cortisol steals progesterone. Progesterone is that one that we really don't want low in perimenopause and menopause, because then it creates a variety of the issues that we're seeing. So manage your stress, consider herbs and adaptogens that help improve your resiliency to stress. Make sure you're not low in B vitamins, magnesium, vitamin C. Those are all depleted by stress. And sleep. Make sure to drink water and sleep. Those are foundational that are often overlooked. Being dehydrated is a stress on the body. Undersleeping or being sleep deprived is another stress in the body too. That's a wrap. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that, if there's anything I can support you with or more information that I can provide you. Happy to do so. I hope you guys have a great Thursday and we'll talk soon.